So good morning or good afternoon to everybody. Thanks for joining this webinar. The purpose is to, can I kindly ask all of you to mute if you are not speaking? Thank you. So the purpose today is to clarify the application process and some of the details of the program. I will be presenting. My name is Antonio. I work for F6S, acting as project coordinator. And with me today, we have Alberto, which is also presenting some parts of the acceleration program. And we have other members of the consortium that will help if you have any specific questions. And that's it. So the meeting is going to be recorded. And do you have any questions to begin with? I guess not. So COVIDX is an accelerator funded by the European Union under the grant agreement, which you can see on the screen. And our purpose is to help the fight the COVID-19 pandemic, and we need to have technological breakthroughs and explore the power of data. So there are two accelerator programs funded on this call. Ours is based on data solutions. There is another project you may want to check out, which is for COV, which is more on sensors and other types of applications. So the mission of COVIDX is to connect the digital sector and healthcare to fight against COVID-19. We want to unlock the full capacity of artificial intelligence and data solutions to overcome some clinical challenges. Our mission is to help save lives. We will bridge technology providers, SMEs, and healthcare providers through the use of data and our COVIDX sandbox. In the project, we have 3 healthcare providers, but as you will see in a moment, the team's solutions also can bring other healthcare providers to the project. In a nutshell, we have defined 6 challenges, which are grouped in 3 thematic areas: diagnosis, prognosis, and follow-up. As you see in the open call documents, not all challenges will be addressed in the first open call. Some of them will be addressed only by our clinical partners on the second open call. However, they are listed because you can apply with solutions to any of these challenges, but also to the open challenge, which is only for team solutions. So the program offers financial support and validation. We will see this in a moment. Market acceleration program, which will be detailed or highlighted by Alberto later, and access to the COVIDX data sandbox, which will be the subject of the webinar on Friday. So you may want to check the webinar next Friday, again at the same time, which will only focus on the sandbox. In terms of financial support, we will provide direct funding to more than 30 data solutions, which are ready to go to the market. And they will be validated in real-world clinical sites. Okay? The solutions, when relevant, need to have CE marking or be really close to in the process of having CE marking if they are if it's relevant and they need to have it. The documents, the open call documents also mention that the TRL must be above 7. So it's just a final push. We want to have results very fast. That's why we want solutions that are at almost ready to go to the market and need that final push. The financial model for SMEs in single player context is up to 100,000 euros. And for the team solutions, the overall funding it's up to 150K, but the tech provider can receive only 100K and the healthcare provider 50K. And this is because of the regulations, EU regulations, that we cannot fund any SME with more than 100,000 euros. In terms of clinical partners, we in the consortium have 3 clinical sites. Instituto Clínico Humanitas from Milan, Hospital Clínico San Carlos from Madrid, and Karolinska Institute from Sweden. As you know, these are 3 of the hotspots of the first wave, and we have data sets that can really help your solutions to be validated in these clinical sites. For the team players, these solutions need to match an SME and a healthcare provider. So it's important to understand that the 5 categories that we list here: hospital, clinics, primary care centers, telehealth operators, assisted living facilities, are just examples of what we understand as healthcare providers. If you have a partner which provides healthcare, but the name is not exactly this one, for us it's okay. And you can target any challenge related with COVID-19, in the fight of COVID-19, okay? As long as it complies with the purpose of the call, which is a data-driven solution with AI, machine learning, and so on. I will now pass the floor to Alberto to explain the Market Acceleration Program.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Alberto, I will give you control.
Yeah, I will.
You have control.
Okay,
I think.
great. So good morning and good afternoon to everyone. My name is Alberto Sierra. I work at Bosonit, and we are leading the acceleration program, which is a good part of the COVID-X program. So apart from the financial support that the project will provide, there is also a strong support in terms of business development, as well as technical support to connect with the different parts of the sandbox that we are going to also explain today and in next Friday. This whole COVID-X program contains therefore a technical support, financial support, business support, and as well as ethical validation with the clinical partners. So the idea is to fast track your innovations to the market. That's why we ask for TRL7 solutions, and all the selected projects will join in a 10 months acceleration program that consists of 3 different sprints. Okay.
You are control.
Yeah. So regarding the Kpis sandbox, as mentioned before, we are developing a sandbox that will be available for you to connect with the data set that the clinical partners will provide. There will be also support services regarding the Kpis data sandbox that will be explained next Friday. But regarding the acceleration program itself, we have specifically designed the program to support your innovations and accelerate your products to the market. And the methodology that we will follow is the one that you can see on your screen. So firstly, we start after the evaluation process that will be explained by Antonio later on. We will have some onboarding sessions with you, which means that we will try to identify your needs and your expectations of the project, and we'll tailor-make the services that we will provide to you. That means that the program will be somehow personalized for you, and that you will be assessed based on these expectations and KPIs that we will set at the beginning of the program during the onboarding process. So the onboarding process will last around the first month or the first 2 months, and we will then enter into the first sprint, in which we will do all the selected experiments together with consortium partners. Will define some KPIs, and this will be the basis of the monitoring of all the projects during the whole acceleration program, as well as during the implementation of your solutions in the clinical partner. This is really important, and please take care about the right definition. You will be mentored also as well in the definition of the KPIs. Sorry, it is not this slide.
It's the one? Sorry.
Yeah, it's this one. Yeah. So you will be mentored as well in the KPIs definition, as this will be the basis for pass from one sprint to another and to receive the funding that is divided in 4 different reimbursements. Then we will also support you during the first sprint in the sandbox integration and interoperability with your solutions. And during this process, you will receive some technical support and business support that I will explain in the next slide. So during the second sprint, you will need to validate your data model, and you will need to have an agreement between the clinical partner and the startup or SME in terms of IP protection and the results of this project. And you will also need to set some objectives in the proposal, as well as in the first sprint that needs to be achieved in the second sprint to receive the second payment. And this is the same in the third sprint. So we will constantly monitor your projects. You will be assigned by a mentor, and we will also set your objectives in the third sprint. And at the end of this sprint, hopefully you will have your solutions ready to the market, and you will scale up your solutions as well with the support of the European Commission. But talking about more tangible things, which mean that you will be probably asking yourself that what is my startup? So for a business support side, you will receive a complete mentoring program in different business related topics. Each month will be different, which means that you will need to address something different within your companies in each of the acceleration program months. We will give you some general trainings, as well as mentoring and one-to-one mentoring sessions, and we will provide you with homework, I would say. So based on this homework, we will monitor as well your progress, and together, you and us, we will try to improve your business models as well as your business roadmap. At the end of this mentoring program, or at the end of the third sprint, based on the homework as well as the KPIs definition and your progress during the program, you will receive a document which is called Business Roadmap, which also will contain the next steps in terms of what do you need to do in terms of finance, what do you need to do in terms of business development, how to acquire new customers, etc. Apart from that, this will be totally online. So it will be good for you as you won't need to move from one country to another. And this is even better in this COVID-19 pandemic. We will make some demo days and workshops. Well, at least we will make 3 workshops, one at the end of each sprint. And the fact is that in these workshops, it is a possibility, and as stated in the guidelines for applicants, some of them may be physical, and we will try to address some, let's say, some technical, business, and technology issues within during these workshops. And we will also promote yourselves within the European startup and healthcare ecosystem. And for that reason, we will ask you to, let's say, somehow make some inspirational talks, and we will also connect with some ecosystem builders in Europe that will also provide some inspirational talks. So at the end of this program, it can be said that you will be ready in terms of business, and you will know which are the next steps to go to the market. In terms of technical support, I don't want to be extremely longer in this slide, as there is a technical webinar happening next Friday. My colleagues will write the link in the chat box right now, and I strongly
I sent it already.
Thank you, Blanca. I strongly encourage you to join this webinar, as it will be really important to know what is the Kpis data sandbox, which are the services that you will receive, how is it working, and everything. But talking about some of the services that will be integrated in this technical support, you will receive 3 technology courses. This indeed will be provided by Bosonic, which is an international technology firm. And at the beginning, during the onboarding process, we will assess your needs and your, let's say, your weaknesses in terms of technology, and we will try to provide you with some technology courses that will be ready to you by the beginning of the program. Then, as a general training, there will be also trainings on the sandbox, as perhaps you will need support. So during the onboarding process and the beginning of the program, the Kpis program, you will receive trainings on the sandbox. And then if you have any individual doubt or you don't know how to do something with the sandbox or whatever, you will receive one-to-one support sessions with our technical partners in the program. But again, I encourage you to join the next webinar happening this Friday, as it is really important for understanding the needs of the sandbox. And that's everything about the acceleration program. You will receive more information during the onboarding process in case you are selected. I'm really happy to have you all on board in this session, as well as in the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Alberto. So now we move to the administrative part of the process. So the first thing you need to do is to visit our website and also the application form, and download and read the open call documentation kit. And then you need to go to the F6S platform and apply. So I will show a glimpse of the application form. So it's pretty straightforward. You have to define the data of the coordinator, which is always the SME. Please bear in mind that we are now requested to report the peak number of all applications. So you need to go to this website of the European Commission, and if you don't have already a peak number, get one. Then you need to define the healthcare provider. This section is optional. It only needs to be provided if you are applying for a team solution. And then you need to upload some documents. So the honor declaration for both participants, the templates are above the or are within this each question. And then you need to define the characterize your proposal, provide an infography, a picture that in a nutshell explains your solution, and then the technical annex. We don't have number of pages, maximum number of pages for this technical annex, but in fact you should be as concise as possible, because this will help the evaluators assess your proposal. It's really important for us to know if you have applied to other funding programs, because we need to assess if you are in the risk of being double funded, which is one of the key rules of European funding projects. Sorry, let me just, I don't know why it closed. It's here. And then some tied up acceptance of data privacy. So this is a simple form that you need to fill. And moving back to the application. Okay, sorry. After, not working well. Okay, so after the application, our evaluation process has 6 stages. They are all described in the guideline for applicants. So the first step is an eligibility check, where we see if you are coming from a country that can be funded, if all the documents have been uploaded correctly, if they are signed, and so on. The second step is a pre-screening. What we'll do here is just check if the proposals are in the scope of what we are asking, in terms of domains, in terms of CE marking, TRL level, and so on. The proposals that pass this pre-screening will be sent to an external remote evaluation team. So we will hire experts on the domain, and they will evaluate all the proposals and rank them. So once this is done, we have an internal meeting within the consortium to rank the proposals, and only the best ranked proposals will move to an online interview. And the purpose of the online interview is to make a better assessment of the proposals, and in a nutshell, to check or make a second check of the team, of the proposal, of the status of the technology solution, and so on. After this, we will have a consensus meeting inside the consortium and matchmaking with the clinical partners. So it's important that if you can work with more than one clinical partner, please state so in the technical annex. So all the process is available in the guide for applicants. If you have any doubts, please refer to the guide for applicants, because the entire process is detailed there. In terms of project implementation, those that are funded, for us, the results are paramount. So we are a result-based project. Payments will be made based on achieving the results. You will need to deliver the project in the time frames of the proposal, as promised in your proposal, in the time frame of the project, and with the expected quality. As Alberto said, you will be asked to agree with your mentors on specific KPIs of your project to ensure that all these aspects are delivered on time. So this is the presentation that we had for you. Now we open the floor for questions. Let me check in the chat if you already have questions, but feel free to open your microphone and your video feed. So let me just go to the chat, and Alberto, if you could help me here to see if there are some questions that are not answered. So Veronica is asking if the two partners can come from the same country or two different countries. There is no restriction here. They can be from the same country or different countries.
This is Peter.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
There was a question asking for a better explanation of sandbox. I couldn't figure out what a sandbox is, and I did not read the description document, but maybe in 30 seconds, if you could give us a description of the sandbox.
In 30 seconds, yes. So first of all, thank you for your question, Peter. The sandbox is a technical solution that will interface the data that is coming from the clinical partners and provide a common API for all solutions to access the data. It provides security services, and it will be deployed in all clinical partners.
Okay, how do you address the issue of GDPR? You become an entity that is a data controller. So you need to have an agreement with us, but I suppose this will be the agreement for data transfer.
Yes, the agreement is made on, the subgrant agreement is properly addressed. And actually one of the deliverables or the contract procedures that we have is about this. And you will only be receiving anonymized data. So it's debatable if the data that you will receive is in scope of GDPR or not, because you will not have any access to the private data, personal data.
Okay, and I suppose that includes data minimization. You know, even with anonymized or pseudonymized data, data needs to be carefully minimized so that I cannot infer personal identity from, you know, say something very simple as a postcode and a date of birth, and I can have somebody's name, but that's another matter.
Yes, but this is going to be addressed on the Friday webinar. We are super careful on this, and all these concerns will be mentioned on Friday.
A final comment. Your presentation involved numerous bureaucratic aspects. This is 100,000 euros.
It's normal.
It's normal, but it is excessive. And I always say that it is excessive because complying with all this bureaucracy means that people in Brussels are satisfied, but it places a huge burden on applicants.
I'm not sure I understand fully the extent of your question, Peter.
It is a comment. Grant applications emanating from Brussels are unbelievably bureaucratic. And may even include steps that have no bearing on what a company is researching, developing, or selling.
So, Peter, we have tried to make this application process as simple as possible. One of the aspects that we try to do is minimize exactly the workload of the applicants and then the people that are funded. So we try only to ask the information that is needed to make a fair assessment of the applications. And throughout the course of the project, this is a LAMP-based or project. So all you need to do, or all we request, is that you provide the deliverables that we are asking. And once you provide the results, we release the money. So there is, for example, no need to keep timesheets and so on.
Thank you, Antonio.
In this, this is a good question for everybody. In this project, we have the additional burden of complying with ethical rules and ethical guidelines. But this is something we cannot avoid. So there is this, the need to submit the solution to the ethical committees, but it's unavoidable. Other than that, we try to be as lean as possible in terms of workload. There is one, just to clarify this for everybody, in the guideline for applicants, we are requesting that you meet every other week with the mentors. This is going to be a very short meeting that you will agree with your mentors. But the purpose here is also to signal interesting solutions to the Commission, so that you can have further support from the Commission to bring your solutions to the market. Peter, I think, do you have any other questions? Shall we move
Thank
to
you
other
so
participants?
much. Thank you so much.
So, Alberto, can you help me here on the chat?
Yeah.
Hello, Antonio.
Sure.
Yes,
Hello.
go ahead, please.
Gianluca Sensidoni, Expert A. Thank you for your presentation. My question is, I suppose also in the chat you can find this, is regarding CE marking. Because in some points in your guideline, you mentioned about CE marking of the product. Somewhere else, you mentioned about solutions. Even if the TRL is high, so I suppose the proposed solution has to be a product inside or starting from a product, so to reach a so high TRL. But I'd like to understand the differences. So when you mention CE marking, you mention product, and the other part of the questionnaires mention solutions.
Yeah, thank you for your question. This is an interesting one. Let me check if Luis is here. He will also help me answer this. So it is, this is one of the domains that it's, the regulation in different EU countries is, has impact on this. So in general, the understanding this, so first of all, this requirement comes from the Commission. For physical devices, the CE marking is mandatory. For software devices, in some countries it is, in other countries it is not. Okay, so the message here is, if your solution, software plus hardware, if you have hardware in your solution, at least the hardware part needs to be needs to have CE marking. If the software, or if you are in a country where the software needs to have CE marking or needs to be approved as a software medical device, then you also need to have this certification process almost done. Does this clarify your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So do you want Antonio me to read the
Alberto,
questions?
please. Yes, please read and
Okay.
answer if you.
Yeah. So there is another question that asks about the participation of 3 partners from the same country. I guess the maximum amount of partners, it is 2. So there is no possibility to apply 3 partners for the project. There is another question about the, So what is the percentage of obligatory offline events? I think in the guidance, well, it will depend, of course, on the COVID-19 situation in Europe, as well as in specific countries. We will not make it mandatory if the health situation in Europe is not as good as desired. But well, in the guidance for applicant, it is stated that at least 2 offline events will be happening in the program. One at the middle of the project of the acceleration program, and one other at the end. Also, at the end of the program, we will make some, well, if COVID allows, a kind of event or something like this, in which you will be able to pitch your innovations in front of us, and as well as perhaps in front of some people from the Commission. So at least 2 events will be mandatory if the situation is good. Yeah, so there is another question by Peter. A question for Antonio. In project terms, COVID-19 project. Well, COVID-19 is a good opportunity to demonstrate a data solution that works for this disease, but can be useful for all diseases as well. Can we use COVID-X for a use case related to COVID-19 and demonstrate its usefulness for all disease areas?
So we are specifically looking for a COVID-19 solution. So if the solution is useful for other diseases, it's obviously okay. But you need to prove that it's useful in the fight against COVID-19. I cannot say much more than this, but it's somehow obvious that some of the challenges that we provide, the solutions are useful not only for COVID, obviously.
Yeah. There is also an interesting question regarding the length of the proposal. I guess it is in the guidance for applicants, but here Peter says that the application indicates 13 megabytes per document, but no page limit. I guess this is a typo in the guidance, and we will try to solve it as soon as possible. Right, Antonio?
Yes, we can try to address that, but I don't see how we can do that now. So please be concise in providing your technical annex, and remember that more is not always better.
Yeah. Another question from Alejandro. Can we apply for both the individual track and the team track? No. In the guidance for applicant, it says that only 1 application per company it is allowed. Could a project addressing cybersecurity in medical systems be eligible? I guess yes, as long as you cover COVID-19 situation. Although I need to say that we cannot comment in any individual application or concept of a project. Another one says, our system is the outcome of a research project on a local level, but there was EU money involved. But there is no question. You can apply as long as you are in Tier 7 and you address the COVID-19 situation. Could you tell more about CE certification of non-embedded software such as text mining? I guess this is for Antonio or for our technical partners.
It really depends on text mining, what you mean by text mining, because some of the we need to comply with the rules of the Commission, and depending on your solution, text mining might not be electable for this call. But if text mining is related with the healthcare data and so on, so that's why I'm saying it's not, it might not be electable.
Yeah, so can we get links for document here? Yeah, there it is. Which are the technical assessment criteria? Well, I guess the evaluation criteria is something that is not public because it will be sent to the evaluators in due time. But we will address how innovative is your solution and how it is connected with the COVID-19 problem as well as with our sandbox. Another question regarding CE mark.
Сейчас уже есть только, нет видео.
Excuse me?
Уже нет.
I don't think it was a question.
No. Yeah, so another question about CE mark, Antonio. Did I understand correctly that CE certification is not a demand? For example, software solutions where this certification does not apply can be part of the project and apply for the funding.
Sorry, can you please list me at which time are you seeing this question?
12:23.
Okay, thank you.
The last one.
Yes, if CE certification is not mandatory in the context of your solution, you can still apply. Yeah. Magnus, does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next question is about double funding, and it is an interesting topic for everyone. So if one has applied for the INNOV for COP19 call, which is the other program funded by the European Commission, it is not possible to apply also for this call. So it is possible as long as you don't receive funding in the COVID INNOV for COP19.
Yeah, this is a tricky question also. In general, what Alberto is saying is correct. The only exception would be if you are doing something radically different in both projects.
Yeah. So if there is different projects.
If it's a different project, exactly. So the same SME, the same project, you can apply to both, but you cannot receive funding from both projects.
Okay.
Just a quick comment here. So if your SME has received funding from the Commission on other projects, it's possible to apply for INNOV for COVID-X and also for INNOV for COV. The rule is the same for everybody, as long as we will fund a different technical aspect of your solution, okay, or reaching to the market. If you cannot receive funds for something that was already funded or for technical work that was already funded. And this is a general rule. Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah. Christina says, are there character limits for the questions in the proposal template?
I think we answered this. In the proposal page there is, in the technical annex, no.
Is it hardware or software driven technology solution you are looking for? We are looking for a box. So we are looking for a solution to that can fight against COVID-19, no matter if it is a hardware or software solution. I did not Natalie says that she doesn't understand the role of the 3 clinical partners if the SME already comes with a clinical partner.
So if the SME already comes with a clinical partner, they can apply to the team solution. And the SME can receive up to 100,000 euros and the clinical partner 50,000 euros. We actually have both profiles open because some SMEs will only want to apply with the team solution.
Yeah. So I think we can. So this has been already covered. We are aiming to apply as a team. Sorry?
Что? Растет быстро.
I think people are unmuting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We are aiming to apply as a team, one SME plus one health provider. Our application must be focused only in one challenge, or can we apply for multiple challenges?
So I may start on this one, but then Albert, you can help me here. This was actually a debate within the consortium, and our understanding is that you should have a primary focus on one challenge, but also mention that your solution is interesting for other challenges. Okay, it's value added, but don't lose the focus on the primary challenge that you have. Make it clear.
Yeah, so I think you covered perfectly the question.
Thank you.
For which countries do we need the CE market software? I think that primarily you need this CE mark for your country, which means that in the country that you are applying your solution, and we will, let's say, support you with information about how to achieve the CE market, but in other countries. But this will be addressed during the acceleration program. So at the let's say at the primary point in the proposal, you need to address the CE mark in your country, if it is a request by your regulation. Hi, Antonio, you mentioned another project addressing sensors. May I ask you to provide further information for that?
Yes, the project is enough for COVID-19, but we can post the link for the project on the team chat.
Yeah.
If Blanca, you could do that, it would be brilliant.
A question from Mario.
Sorry, Alberto. What do you want me to put on the chat?
The website of Enough for COVID-19 project, if you don't mind. Or I can do it. We can share it later. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, question from Mario: what IP sharing model is applied on selected project?
Excellent question, Mario. So this is one of the trickiest parts of these types of projects is sharing IP. That's why the project needs to reach an agreement with the healthcare provider in the end of the second sprint. Okay, so in general, the IP belongs to the partner that generates the knowledge. We are considering, or in the subgrant agreement, background, all your solution that you bring to the project is considered your background. It may be the case that with the data from healthcare providers, your solution is improved. But as this will be the different for all the projects that we apply, all we are requesting now is that you reach an agreement with the partner that you are working with until the end of month 6.
Thank you. Excellent answer.
Yeah. Yeah, this is indeed a very interesting question. So must the solution already be at TRL 7 or can it reach TRL 7 during the funding period?
It must be at TRL 7 before the start of solution. We just want to give the final push. This must be clear for everybody.
Another question regarding CE mark. I guess this is the most trending topic in the webinar. So can we apply if we are at TRL 8 but still most likely 18 months from CE marking?
Okay, this is one of the threads that we are pursuing with the Commission. You can apply for sure, and if your solution is interesting, we can signal this to the Commission, and they will help in use your solution. Okay, but this is how we can help you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can I just ask, because I mean, I think for if you are in category 2A or 2B, CE marking does take 12 to 18 months. This is just how the CE marking system works and how it works with notifying bodies. It's not something we can push with the new MDR legislation for software as a medical device in particular. This has changed everything. So yes, this cannot just be us.
Yeah, we are aware of that, and this is one of the things that changed between the call opening and the present moment. And we are actually pursuing this with the Commission to make sure that this timeline, they are aware of this timeline, and we can still fund these types of solutions. But we would say that for now, you should apply, proceed as possible, because the clarification of this will not come in the next couple of weeks. So please prepare your application, apply, it's not so much work, and then like I said, it's an open thread with Commission. We will have a meeting later today with the head of unit to clarify this.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is there any networking tool available for us participants to contact each other and find potential synergies? No, we don't have such platform. You can search partners in the F6S platform, which is the platform that we are using. Well, indeed, they are the coordinators of the proposal, and we are using that for managing the open code. So you can ask there or look for synergies in the platform. Right, Antonio?
Yes, yes. So there is in the page, there is a forum next both to the COVIDX general page and on the application form. So the forums. And if you want to find synergies, please go there and post your queries, and everybody will be available to see your queries. So the forum is there. It's not a formal networking tool, but it can be used for networking as well.
Yeah, that's it. There is another question from Magnus. For the 150K call with will the healthcare provider partner also receive 50K after the completion of a project when completed the KPI? So if you apply for the team solution application, the SME or a startup will receive up to 100,000 euros, and the healthcare provider or the healthcare partner will receive 50K after the project, or during the project. So the total amount of the funding for this application should be or must be 150K in total.
Actually, but I think the question is related with the timeline of payments. Is this correct, or?
Yes, this is correct.
So
because Yes, yeah, go ahead.
So the timeline of payments is pretty simple. So once you have completed the KPI definition, both the SME and the healthcare provider will receive 10% of the funding. And throughout the 3 sprints, you'll receive at the end of each sprint 30% of the funding. So this is a delivered based project. The first deliverable is the KPI definition. Once it's approved, 10% is released to all participants. In the end of the first sprint, after the evaluation of the deliverables, we will release 30% of the payment and so forth until the end of the project.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, excuse me, Alberto and Antonio. You unfortunately skipped a question asking if mental health challenges posed by COVID, solutions around that using data points, etc., will they be accepted, or does it have to be very much physical COVID health?
Sorry, which question?
Sorry, it's okay. So call a solution that addresses mental health challenges posed by COVID applied?
Correct, yes, that's the one.
Okay, so it's Antonio, it's 12:40 p.m.
This one, it really depends on what you write in terms of solution. And it depends if you are doing this as a team solution or as a single solution. For single solution, it's I'm not sure it addresses any of the challenges that we have posted so far. For team solution, as Alberto said earlier, we cannot provide an assessment at this point if your solution is electable or not, mostly because we don't have all the information that it's in your head.
No,
okay?
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, so there is another question about the sandbox. What is exactly the sandbox? I think it has been already covered. And indeed, or again, you have all the information in the guidelines for applicants, as well as in the next Friday's webinar. But yes, for you to know, it will be a tool that we will create in the framework of the project, in which we will provide you with the data sets of the clinical partners in a nutshell, in a very small nutshell. Do we need to contact the health providers in order to do the align on the application?
What do you mean by health providers? If it's the consortium partners, you cannot contact them.
Yeah, that's it. How do I find a partner for the consortium? So it is a task that you need to do during the proposal preparation. So you need to search within your network if you know already a healthcare provider that can give you access to the data sets and then apply your solution. You can also use our team solution option in the individuals or the single players application form in the program, in which you will be, if you are finally selected, you will be assessed with or matched with one of our clinical partners in the consortium. So you can do both. You can apply directly in a single player option to address one of the challenges that our clinical partners have already explained or exposed, and you can search by your own your clinical partners within your network. Yeah.
Rusty, no va a ser Rusty, no va a ser Gadi Rusty, sino va a ser otro.
Yeah, thank you, Antonio.
You're welcome.
So I think this is the last question if we apply for a team solution, can the clinical partner be a private company that is performing considerate amount of PCR COVID-19 testing in my country on behalf of the government in my country? Yes, you can apply with them.
I'm not sure, Robert.
If they are primary care centers,
if they are, yeah, that's why we cannot give an assessment on these eligibility issues, because we don't have enough information what you mean of on what this private company does. Okay, I have
well, it says clinical part. Okay, private company.
They are a private company that performs PCR testing at, for example, airports.
Yeah, but does it fall in the scope of these 5 categories that we have listed here? So either hospitals, clinics, primary care centers, telehealth operators, assisted living facilities. So these are the types of healthcare providers that we are looking for, not private companies providing or making tests. Okay.
I see. What does assisted living facilities represent?
It means all these nursing homes and sorry, I know the name in Portuguese. So, but in essence, facilities where senior citizens live in an autonomous way or with the support or services support.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you. So there are no more questions. I guess we will wait 2 more minutes in case you have another question. Or you want to say something, Antonio?
No, I want to invite everyone to join the technical webinar next Friday, because some of the questions that you have raised, I think will be answered there, and you have a better understanding of what the COVID sandbox will provide. And as a final remark, please feel free to reach out to us if you have any doubts. We cannot provide, again, stress this, we cannot provide individual assessments, answers, but after today we will post a frequent asked question on the website that you can refer to. And one other aspect, F6S platform is completely stable, has been in production for a number of years, but filling out the forms and the data can take some time, not too much time, but some time. So please try to submit your application ahead of the deadline, which is on January 27, 5 p.m. Central European Time. Okay, please don't wait until the last minute. On all our calls, we see lots of applications that end up 90% concluded just because they didn't have time to finish the last details. So please avoid that and try to do it a couple of days ahead of time, so that if you run into any sort of trouble, you still have time to overcome it.
Yeah. So there are 2 more questions, Antonio. So first one is about technicalities of the webinar. Will you share the slides of this presentation? Yes, we will share the slides and the video so you can watch it later. And on the budget, did you explain how many proposals you support per call? Yes, we will support up to 30 proposals in the total project.
Yeah, so on this, on the guideline for applicants, we have a limited capacity for single solutions, and it's actually mentioned on the open call documents. For the team solutions, we are more flexible, we have a limit for the 2 open calls. But if we have very good applications on this first open call, and we have enough capacity to work with you all in the acceleration program, we may fund more than the 9, I think it's 9, that we have foreseen for the first open call.
Okay, so it seems that there are more questions. So
one more question.
2 more indeed. So what kind of documentary is needed? I guess it is for the application of the proposal. You have everything in the F6S platform. So it is a simple form plus a proposal. Do we have to write reports? What about the forms? So can you unmute yourself?
Okay, so there are actually 4 reports that you need to make throughout the process. So the first one is the agreement on the KPIs, a simple document that we will have to agree with your mentor and then with the project. So that's the first one. And based on your proposal, you will have to make 3 reports, one additional, one at the end of each sprint, so that we can assess the completion of each milestone. So typically this is not too complicated, and we try to keep the reports as useful for you as possible. Does this answer your question, Bettina?
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I've done a couple of EU projects so far, and there's a lot of documentary, and moreover, there's a lot of documentation, you know, for getting, you know, the funding and to justify the funding, and you have to fill out 10,000 sheets and timesheets and whatever, and for 100,000, yeah.
Okay, so let me interrupt you here, Bettina. This is a different scheme. Okay, you are correct, and all the consortium partners, all the COVIDX consortium partners have to do all the things that you are mentioning. So we have to have timesheets and everything. For the sub-grant agreements, in this lump sum model, you don't have to do that. You just have to provide one report, providing evidence that you have completed the work that you have done. Okay, so it's a funding model provided by the Commission, which is simplified so that you don't have to have all that burden and only receive 100K. And from our perspective, from the perspective of the project, we also understand that this might be a burden for you. So we try to make the reports as useful for you as possible.
Okay. So it seems that there are no more questions in the chat box. Just to remind you that you can always ask your questions within the F6S platform, and we will receive all of them. So, Antonio, do you want to say the final words? You are muted, but there is another question.
I know. So thank you for attending. Thank you for your interest in COVIDX project.
Yeah, there is a last question, Antonio.
Yeah. That's proposing a single partner. Yeah, a single partner needs to match one of the challenges by our healthcare providers. So the whole purpose of the project is to have the solutions validated by healthcare providers. So if you have one in your ecosystem, and if you are working with one, you should apply to the team solution or to the team players. If you don't have an healthcare provider and want to work with our healthcare providers, you apply to one of the challenges that our healthcare providers are supporting. Emilio, does this answer your question?
Yes. Yes.
So final words, thanks for joining. We will repeat this webinar a week from today. The content is probably going to be the same. Nevertheless, you are welcome to join. But please attend the webinar on Friday on the technical solution so that you know more about it.
Yeah,
And
I will copy the chat in the chat again the link of the webinar.
And as while you do that, as Alberto said, probably the best place, or probably no, for sure, the best place to ask questions is on Success platform, because then the questions might be useful for the entire crew, or the answers might be useful for the entire crew. So thank you all for attending. Once the recording is complete, it will be posted on our website, and feel free to review it again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a nice
Thank you
day.
very much.
Thank you, Alberto.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.